There's a break in the sound. Alright. Y'all. I don't know what I'm going to talk about today. It's a weird kind of equilibrium day, and I guess that's Libra season for you. I won't lie. Right now, life feels a bit like being at that part of the roller coaster after you've locked in and the chains are pulling you up to the top and you hear that final clink, that liminal space you entered before you know there's no stopping it. There's no getting off, alea iacta est, and all that jazz. It's a bit how life feels right now. 6 months now, we've been in this pandemic, and my goodness, how much the world has shifted. With my own limited historical knowledge, the amount of shifts it seemed we've gone through this year makes me think of the revolutions of 1830. Liberty, Guidant, Peuples. I cannot speak French, so please don't judge me on that. But that painting commemorates the French Revolution of 1830, and Europe as a whole was rocked with rebellions. That's the thing about being locked and loaded, crossing the Rubicon. The events that transpire afterwards can't be stopped because of the inertia or momentum or whatever the right physics term is. Look, I don't know a lot of stuff, apparently. As a kid, I used to love to play 3 games. Well, 4. The 4th was actually playing a game. The Sims, SimCity, Civilization. Yeah. How to govern oneself and those around, how to govern a city and its citizens, and how to start, grow, and govern an empire. My Mars and Libra is strong. I love tactics and planning and strategy. Okay? Actually, so there are 5 games. Caesar 2 or 3 or 4. Maybe 3 and 4. Because in Caesar, you could actually form battalions or whatnot and have mock battles. And I mean, yes, one did the same in Civilization, but it wasn't the same effect as seeing a phalanx fight. All of this is to say I've spent the better part of my childhood in simulation games. And once you start to execute a plan, it was usually best to let the strategy play out versus trying to alternate. The dice had been cast, the simulation run its course. The 5th game, in case you're wondering, or in case you're curious, was Need for Speed. Hot Pursuit, if you must know. And that really explains everything I learned about driving. So all of that is to say that as we enter Libra season, and that will take us into Scorpio season, is with an eye for after the election. If you haven't registered to vote, please go register. I don't know why you haven't registered, and I almost feel like it's wasting one's breath because, seriously, if you haven't registered with all the crap that's gone down this year, then you just don't care. What I'd also recommend is to watch The West Wing and The Crown, even throw in a good bit of Parks and Rec. Watch about how government ideally works. That this is not just a short, immediate gratification sort of situation, but it's a long game. That it's not just about this election, but about laying the foundation for the country our children will inherit. Now, as the Duchess, once I have my films completed and ready, I will embark on a tour of the South, a roving film festival of sorts. Because it's time for a lot of us in urban areas to do a lot of outreach work. We've neglected it for years, but it's time to go in places outside of our bubble and truly connect with people. Some have argued about Joe running a campaign of emotions, but at this point, all we can do is appeal to decency and meeting people where they are at. The conversation I had earlier this with someone on the opposite side of the political aisle, supporter 45, did let me know so much of what he's gone through and why he feels the way he does about some things. And my own self once I was able to cut through his own stereotypes he had about liberals wanting to kill all babies, then, we had an actual meaningful discussion. Look, as we come to this election and so much of the world changing around us, I think it's important to look to Yoda. Now, I know that sounds weird, but his quote is one I've tried to live by since college. Fear is a path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. And look, if you've got a lot of hate in your heart right now, then you're suffering, so let that shit go. Look, there's anger as an emotion, and then there's anger as a state created from fear. Me personally, I try and actively tackle my fears, or at least lessen their powers, because I am not about hate. I am about love. One of my favorite epithets was given to me by my late friend Sammy. He called me Lady Love. After the 2016 election, I was afraid. So much so that I had, and still kind of have, panic attacks when I went with Eddie and his family up to Blue Ridge. I still have those panic attacks when I go outside of the bubble. I mean, I still get fearful whenever I go outside of my duchy or the perimeter. I mean, they're still finding black bodies burning in rural areas in Kansas or wherever that was. But I do try and keep a healthy sense of fear about me for safety's sake. And I try so hard not to let it influence my interactions and connecting. I try not to let it prevent that fear of connecting truly with people. Look, I don't know what I'm babbling about today. I'm trying to look past the election and think about the world I want to create. A world of more empathy amongst countrymen and women. A place to agree to disagree on issues of taxation and how to best govern, not some very hard-rooted and not line-crossing moral issues. Basically, I guess what I'm saying is just think. Think critically, think ethically, think of the kind of world you want to leave for your children, of what you'd hope they would experience growing up, and not just for your children, but also your neighbor's children, and your neighbor. Get involved on some local level in your community. Politics, volunteering, making art, what have you. Well, I think I've rambled on enough today, don't you think? As always, keep bearing lightness of being. I love you all, and until next time. I wanted to switch it up a bit today because I was getting really bored of recording outside, but there's just so much going on. Oh, there's a Maggie. Hold on. Babies! Leo. Audrey. Yeah. Audrey, come on. Get on this love fest. I wish y'all could really... Oh, Leo. Baby. Audrey. Okay. Alright. I love you all. Until next time. What are we doing? Alright. Down.